Michelangelo wrote grocery lists. Now we have evidence that Leonardo wrote resumes before he was famous, before he painted the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper, before he invented the helicopter, before he drew the most famous image of man, before he was all of these things. Leonardo da Vinci was an artificer, an armorer, making things go boom, writes Mark Sindella on his blog about job searching and recruitment advice. Like you, he had put together a resume to get his next gig. So in 1482, at the age of 30, he wrote out a letter listing his capabilities and sent it off to Ludovico il Moro, Duke of Milan, who this guy was like kind of a warmonger. He really liked to get all tough. He was a tough big man who wanted to do big things in terms of like taking over a lot of Italy. Having yet to establish his reputation as perhaps the Italian Renaissance's most respected polymath, Leonardo spelled himself out in translation as follows: most illustrious lord, having now sufficiently considered the specimens of all those who proclaim themselves skilled contrivers of instruments of war, and that the invention and operation of the said instruments are nothing different from those in common use, I shall endeavor, without prejudice to anyone else, to explain myself to your excellency, showing your lordship my secret, and then offering them your best pleasure and approbation to work with effect at opportune moments on all those things which in part shall be briefly noted below. I have a sort of light and strong bridges adapted to be the most easily carried, and with them you may pursue and at any time flee from the enemy, and others secure and indestructible by fire and battle, easy and convenient to lift in place. Also methods of burning and destroying those of the enemy. Look, if you you want to read about confidence, this guy, like, one of the smartest individuals who's probably ever been alive, given the amount of output that we see from this one person, but also really good at talking himself up. He's never actually, I remember reading, he never actually made most of these things. He just had blueprints for these things. So it was kind of like a hobby for him, where he was basically able to draft up these business ideas, and he basically was looking for a startup funding. He basically reached out to Il Moro for some venture capital, and he was hoping that Il Moro could pay him to do this stuff. I know how, when a place is besieged, to take the water out of the trenches and make endless variety of bridges, covered ways and ladders, and other machines pertaining to such expeditions. If, by reason of the height of the banks or the strength of the place and its position, it is impossible when besieging a palace to avail oneself of a plan of bombardment, I have methods for destroying every rock or other fortress, even if it were founded on a rock, etc. Again, I have kinds of mortars most convenient and easy to carry, and with these I can fling small stones, almost resembling a storm, and with the smoke of these cause great terror to the enemy and the great detriment is confusion. And if the fight shall be at sea, I have many kinds of efficient offense and defense, and vessels that will resist the attack of the largest guns and powders and fumes. So, like, the confidence of this letter, the confidence of this letter. And he ended up making a horse. So basically, I think the main thing that came out of this, if I remember correctly, is that Leonardo made this big horse that got immediately destroyed by a invasion. Horse Milan. Yeah. So Leonardo made this horse, and this isn't the one, I think, that is actually the one he made, obviously, because that one got taken down. So yeah, Leonardo's horse was a project for a bronze sculpture that was commissioned from Da Vinci by the Duke of Milan, but it was never completed. Oh, it was never completed, or was it destroyed? Yeah, wait. Never completed. It was intended to be the largest equestrian statue, a monument to the Duke's father. Leonardo did extensive preparatory work, but only produced a large clay model, which was later destroyed. And then about 5 centuries later, sculptures brought this to fruition manually. It's still doing the doubling thing. I don't know how to fix this. It's really quite annoying, actually. It's like what happens when it's bulleted, but I don't really care. Cool.